Good day, everyone. I am Divya, Assistant Professor of English from National College, Trichy. Today, we are going to see the poem Matilda by Hilaire Belloc. First, let's get some facts about the poet. Hilaire Belloc was born on 27 July 1870. He was a Franco-English writer and historian of the 20th century. He was also an orator, poet, satirist, sailor, writer of letters, soldier, and a political activist. His Catholic faith was reflected in most of his works. He is well known for his comic verse, which makes it reader-friendly and also humorous. His most famous work is Cautionary Tales for Children. Even though the name suggests it's for children, it actually gives a lot of moral values for both adults and children. He died on 16 July 1953. Now let's read the poem once. Matilda. Matilda told such dreadful lies, it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort very nearly killed her and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once, towards the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play, and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble Fire-Brigade. Within an hour, the Gallant Band were pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney Downs, and Bow, with courage high and hearts aglow. They galloped, roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor and took peculiar pains to souse the pictures up and down the house until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed, and even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. It happened that a few weeks later her aunt was off to the theatre to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to hear this entertaining piece, a deprivation just and wise to punish her for telling lies. That night a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl, and throw the window up and call to people passing in the street, the rapidly increasing heat encouraging her to obtain their confidence, but all in vain. For every time she shouted, "Fire!" they only answered, "Little liar!" And therefore when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burnt. The poem Matilda was published in the year 1907. The full title is Matilda Who Told Lies and Was Burned to Death. As we read through the poem, we understood that it is about a little girl named Matilda who tells a lot of lies. All her lies shocks people and makes people wonder, how can such a small girl tell such big lies? She was under the care of her aunt, who was very much disciplined and was very truthful. She expected truth in all and every activity that goes on around her. This aunt tried to understand Matilda, and in the beginning she believed her lies until it became a danger for her life. So she stopped believing Matilda, and then she understood that Matilda cannot stop lying. One day it happened such that Matilda was bored in an evening and she was waiting for something interesting to happen. And this girl telephoned the immediate aid, the fire-brigade of the town, and told them that her house was on fire. Believing the words of the small child, the entire fire-brigade from the town came to her aid. They came from all corners of the town and they drenched the house with water. They, they drenched all the pictures, all the walls, every single item in the house, till her aunt came and stopped them, saying that there is no fire at all. It was just a lie that was told by Matilda for fun. She had to apologize and she had to give money to the men who came to send them away. And then Matilda, even after this, she did not understand the real consequence of telling a lie. It happened so one day, unfortunately, a real fire broke out in Matilda's house. That day, the aunt had gone out to a theatre to enjoy a play, the second Mrs. Tanqueray. She left Matilda at home, thinking that it was a punishment that was just and wise to change this little liar. She wanted to teach a lesson to Matilda, and so she left her alone in the house. And it so happened that a real fire started in the house. This small girl wanted to get help and she started screaming and shouting, asking for help. She threw open the window and she cried out, "Fire, fire," and asked for help from the people who were passing by on the street. But nobody, not even a single person, was ready to believe this girl's words. They just called out "little liar" for every time she cried out fire. And as a result, the fire grew to a great extent that it burned down the house, and Matilda also died in the fire. She burns to death in the fire, and nobody was there to help her escape from it. Her aunt returns from the theatre and finds out that the house, along with the child, had burned down. From this poem, Hilaire Belloc is trying to give a moral value to all the readers. What is it? Let's just think. It's very simple and it's easy to understand that a lie will never ever bring good results. This is what Hilaire Belloc is trying to say in the poem. He wants to point out that lies will be disastrous and it can be prevented if one tells the truth. If we take Matilda's life as an example, we can understand that her death would have been prevented if she had not been so casual in telling lies. Her disastrous end could have been averted if this girl had listened to her aunt in the beginning. Her lies made people think that she was a liar all her life, and even the truth that she said that the house was on fire was not believed by not even a single person. The takeaway message from this poem is that if one continues lying, even the truth said by them will not be trusted. Hilaire Belloc targets children in giving these moral values. So for children, he gives the message that one should never lie. If we continue lying, the real value of truth will not be understood if it's even put forth by the liar to the people around. So let's take this message home along from Matilda's life. Hope this video was helpful. Thank you.